Have you ever noticed the very first thing you put into your body each morning is actually a message you're sending to your heart, your blood vessels, and even your brain? Hi, I'm Dr. William. I've worked with thousands of older adults, people just like you, standing at the crossroads of life. Not exactly young anymore, but far from old. And one thing I always emphasize with them is something simple, yet incredibly powerful: your first meal of the day. Today, I want you to take a moment. Sit down, breathe a little slower, and picture this with me. It's early morning, you've just woken up. Soft sunlight is peeking through the curtains. You yawn, stretch your arms, and step into a brand new beginning. But right at that moment, even though you can't see it or feel it, your body is going through one of the most sensitive phases of the entire day. Blood pressure tends to spike in the morning. Your blood vessels, after a full night of rest and stillness, are a bit tighter and stiffer than usual. And if you have any history of stroke, high blood pressure, or diabetes, this time of day, my friend, can be the most dangerous. So what do? Let me tell you about a former patient of mine, Mr. Michael, 72 years old. He once told me, "I never thought a banana in the morning could be the thing that kept me out of the hospital." See, he used to eat breakfast like this: sausage, white bread, and a thick, strong cup of black coffee. He never paid attention to what was actually in it. Then, he had a minor stroke. That's when he came to see me. And instead of prescribing more meds, I started with a simple question. Would you be willing to change the first thing you put into your body each day? That one shift changed everything. You see, breakfast isn't just about filling your stomach. It's about nourishing your body. And the two minerals that can help protect you from silent threats like stroke, high blood pressure, or heart attacks are potassium and magnesium. No, I'm not talking about supplements or pills. I'm talking about real food. A slice of whole grain toast with avocado, or a green smoothie with banana, chia seeds, and almond milk. Potassium helps balance sodium in your body, which means it helps relax blood vessels that are tense from too much salt. It's like a gentle whisper to your heart. Take it easy. I've got you covered. And magnesium, a mineral most people over 60 are deficient in, is like a best friend to your arteries. It helps your vessels relax, improves circulation, and even calms down a heart that's beating out of rhythm. Did you know that according to a study published in the Journal of Hypertension, people who regularly get enough magnesium and potassium in the morning have a 35 to 40% lower risk of stroke than those who don't? Now, you might be thinking, I'm already older. Is it too late to change? Let me tell you about Jean, 68 years old, widowed, living alone. She used to feel dizzy in the mornings, short of breath, restless, and she just assumed, well, that's what aging is. But then she changed her breakfast, from donuts and bacon to oats with flax seeds, Greek yogurt, and half a ripe banana, and everything started to shift. Her blood pressure stabilized, she slept better, and most importantly, she felt cared for, by herself.
See, your body doesn't need anything fancy, it needs kindness. And that kindness starts with the very first choice you make each day. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for that box of processed cereal or sprinkle more salt on your eggs, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, what message am I sending to my heart today? You don't have to change everything at once. Just one small, consistent change, that's enough to make a big difference. Breakfast isn't just about food. It's a quiet act of self-love. Every single morning. You've lived long enough to know. Health doesn't come by accident. But you still have time to write the rest of your story in a smarter, kinder, more mindful way. So tomorrow morning, what will you choose for your first meal? Here's something I often remind my patients, the way you'd remind an old friend. You can't manage what you don't measure. And your blood pressure, my friend, is the silent map of your heart health. You know, strokes don't give warnings, they don't knock, they don't send a letter in advance, they don't give you time to get ready. But before they hit, your body always whispers. The only problem? Most people don't hear it or don't know how to listen. And one of those silent whispers is high morning blood pressure. I once met a man named Charles, 65 years old, retired for 3 years, loved gardening and reading, didn't smoke, took walks every week, thought he was doing just fine. Then one morning he woke up with blurred vision, nausea, and felt a bit off balance getting out of bed. But he just thought, probably slept in a weird position. A week later, Charles was hospitalized after a minor stroke, and on the ER report, the nurse had written down his morning blood pressure, 188/110. When I asked him about it, he admitted, "I actually have a blood pressure monitor at home, but I just let it sit there." Let me tell you this, from real lived experience, if you're over 60, checking your blood pressure every morning isn't optional. It's a responsibility. To yourself. Check it about 30 to 60 minutes after waking up. Before breakfast, before coffee. While you're still calm and seated. You don't have to understand every number, but you do need to recognize when they go outside the safe range. If your readings go above 135/85 for several days in a row, don't wait. Talk to your doctor. Don't wait for your body to scream when it's already been whispering. I once joked with a patient, that blood pressure monitor isn't a decorative piece for your shelf, it's a secret mailbox where your heart sends you messages every day. You can jot your readings down in a small notebook, or if you're more tech-savvy, use a health tracking app designed for seniors. I often recommend one called Senior Health Tracker. It takes less than a minute each morning, but this tiny habit could save you from a health crisis that might leave you bedridden for the next 10 years. I know some people say, "I feel fine, why bother checking?" But you know what? It's often the people who feel the best who miss the earliest warning signs. Because high blood pressure, the scariest thing about it is this. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't throb. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. It just quietly builds, day by day, week by week, until one morning, you can't remember your own name. So let me ask you, will you give yourself just 1 minute each morning to stay strong, independent, to keep tending your garden, reading your books, hugging your grandkids? Or will you let the silence of high blood pressure take that away? You deserve to live these later years with clarity, strength, and freedom. And you don't need a miracle. You just need a small device and a big habit. So tomorrow morning, as you sit on the edge of your bed, don't rush. Pause. Check your blood pressure. Listen to your body. Because sometimes the thing that keeps you alive isn't a pill. It's the awareness that you're worth caring for every single day. I want you to try something with me. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath all the way to the bottom of your lungs. Hold it for 1, 2, 3. Then breathe out slowly, gently, as if you're letting go of an entire long, tiring day. Can you feel the difference? It's just 1 minute, but it's a precious minute. One most of us skip over each morning. I used to believe that the most important part of the morning was a healthy breakfast, but now I realize even more important is a clear, awakened mind. Not long ago, I sat down with a woman named Dorothy, 70 years old, a retired elementary school teacher. She'd been living alone since her husband passed away. She came to my clinic feeling exhausted, sleep-deprived, with high blood pressure despite taking her medication. So, I asked her, "How do you start your morning?" She said, "As soon as I open my eyes, my mind starts racing. I have to call my son. I have to pick up my meds. I have to pay the electric bill. I have to. You see? We don't have to physically run, but our minds, they're already sprinting the moment we wake up. And when the mind runs, the body feels it. Your nervous system kicks in. Stress hormones, especially cortisol, start flooding in. Your blood pressure goes up, blood vessels tighten, the heart beats faster. All of that, simply because we didn't pause for a breath.
You don't need to be a monk. You don't have to fully understand mindfulness or Buddhism. You just need to know this. When you take a deep breath in and slowly let it out, you're sending a message to your body. Everything's okay. I'm safe. I'm right here. And for someone over 60, that simple signal can mean the difference between a healthy day and an unexpected hospital visit. Here's a simple way to do it. Sit on your bed or a comfy chair. Close your eyes. Rest a hand on your chest or belly. Breathe in through your nose. Count to 4. Hold. Count to 4. Breathe out through your mouth. Count to 4. Repeat for 5 minutes. If your thoughts start to wander, that's all right. Just smile and gently bring your focus back to your breath. I had a patient named Henry, 66 years old, used to be a mechanic. He once told me, "I used to think meditation was just a bunch of nonsense, for hipster kids or whatever. But then you made me try it. I didn't get it at first, but weirdly enough, I started sleeping better. My blood pressure got more stable, and I just felt more at ease with myself." You may not be able to control the news, or your grown-up kids, or the aches and pains that come with age, but you can always control your breath. And that breath, if you pay attention, is the bridge between your body and your mind. Breathe in, and you enter the present moment. Breathe out, and you let the pressure go. We've spent a lifetime worrying, rushing, holding it all together. But now, at this age, you deserve to slow down. Not because you're weak, but because you've grown strong enough to understand. Peace doesn't come from the outside. It comes from the first breath you choose each morning. So tomorrow morning, before you check the news, open your email, or take that first sip of coffee, give yourself just 5 minutes. Not to do anything, just to breathe. Because sometimes the very moment you pause is when life begins to move in the right direction again. I once asked an older patient, "When was the last time you went for a morning walk?" He smiled and said, "As long as I can still walk, life's still good, Doc." And I thought, that might be the most beautiful answer I've ever heard. Walking, not to burn calories, not to train for the gym, but simply to live. Morning is when nature feels the most pure. The air is fresh, the sunlight is soft, and if your heart is still enough, you can feel a quiet kind of energy rising up beneath your feet with every single step. I often tell my older patients, if there were a free medicine that could lower your blood pressure, boost heart health, improve memory, and ease stress, would you take it? Almost everyone nods, and then I smile and say, "Great, then tomorrow morning, just walk for 10 minutes around your home. That is the medicine. You don't need much to walk. You don't need to go far. You don't need fancy workout clothes. All you need is a pair of legs willing to step out the door." There was a woman named Helen, 74 years old, who came to see me after a minor stroke. After recovering, she was scared to move too much, and I understood that fear. But I also knew what might happen if she stayed still for too long. So I gently said, "Tomorrow, just walk for 5 minutes. Around the house is fine. Then rest. Next week, try 7 minutes. Then 10. Then 15. 3 months later, she came back. She walked into my office steady on her feet, holding a bouquet of flowers from her garden. She said, "Thank you, doctor. These days I walk every morning, and I feel alive again." You see, no pills, no gym, just footsteps. Because when you walk, blood flows, the heart beats more rhythmically, and your blood vessels open up. Just 10 to 15 minutes of morning walking can help lower blood pressure, reduce bad cholesterol, improve blood sugar control, and most importantly, activate your motor system and keep your brain sharp. We don't just walk to stay healthy, we walk to reconnect with ourselves. You might walk alone, but every step you take says loud and clear, I'm still here. I'm still showing up to care for this body.
And if you can't go outside, that's okay. You can walk inside your home, pace the hallway, climb a few steps. Even walking around the couch for 10 minutes can make a real difference. It's not about how far you go. It's about being aware that you're moving. I want you to try something tomorrow morning. Wake up, drink a glass of water, put on a light sweater or shirt, step out onto the porch or open a window, and just walk. Don't think about anything, just walk. Breathe. Listen to the birds. Feel the sunlight. Notice the breeze. That's movement as meditation. And that's also healing through being alive. At this age, we're not chasing anything anymore, but we can still walk, step by step, steady, slow, and free. Because every step you take is a message to your heart. I still love life. I still love myself. Tomorrow morning, don't just open your eyes. Open your legs too. Because life, no matter what age you are, is always waiting for you to step out and keep on living. Some things are so simple we overlook them. A glass of water, that's it. But for your body, especially after 60, that could mean the difference between a clear, energized day or a dangerous morning. When you sleep, your body goes without food, water, or movement for 7 to 8 hours. No fluids, no fuel, no motion. So when you wake up, your blood naturally becomes thicker. Now, that's normal. But for older adults, thickened blood means tighter vessels, slower circulation. And if you already have heart or circulation risks, that could mean danger. Stroke, clotting, or a spike in blood pressure first thing in the morning. I had a patient, Luis, age 70, who was hospitalized with sharp headaches every morning. We ran every test. No tumor, no injury, no stroke. Then I asked him, "Do you drink water in the morning?" He looked surprised. "I usually have black coffee, but water, not really. I don't feel thirsty." That's a common mistake. Your sense of thirst fades as you age, but that doesn't mean your body doesn't need water. You may be dehydrated, seriously, and your body just doesn't sound the alarm like it used to. We all know the human body is about 70% water, but we forget your blood, the very thing carrying oxygen to your brain, needs hydration to flow smoothly. Drinking water first thing in the morning helps thin the blood and reduce clot risks, support your liver and kidneys in flushing out overnight toxins, ease dizziness and fatigue, help your blood pressure meds work better if you take them. And most importantly, kickstart your body safely for the day ahead. I often say, a morning glass of water is like a key unlocking your body. Without it, the door sticks. With it, everything flows. You don't need anything fancy. Just one glass of plain water. Room temperature is fine. If you like, add a thin slice of lemon, not for weight loss, but to support circulation. And here's a trick. Place the glass by your bed at night, so the first thing you reach for in the morning isn't your phone, but life itself. People sometimes ask me, isn't it enough to drink water when I'm thirsty? I usually smile and ask them this. Do you wait until your car completely runs out of gas before filling the tank? Your body works the same way. Don't wait for warning signs. Take care of it before it cries out for help. I want you to imagine this. You wake up, still a little groggy. Morning light spills softly through the window. You sit up, reach for the glass of water by your bed. You take a sip. Cool, gentle, it flows down your throat, into your stomach. And in that very moment, you've sent a message to your whole body. I'm ready to begin this new day. Gently, kindly, with care for myself.
At this stage of life, we're not chasing perfection anymore. We're just seeking wholeness in the simplest things. A glass of water may seem small, but if you do it every morning, it's one of the most loving acts you can give your body. So tomorrow, when you wake up, don't rush to check the news. Don't jump into your to-do list. Just drink some water and smile, because you've just given yourself a kind, mindful start.
Beautifully done, Win. Now, let's move on to morning habit number 6. Gentle neck and shoulder stretches. A habit that's hugely important but often overlooked, especially for those over 60. Still the same tone. Sincere sharing, soft philosophy, real-life examples, and always grounded in what matters most for older adults in America. Your neck isn't just the thing connecting your head to your body. It's the one and only highway that blood takes to reach your brain. And if that highway gets even slightly blocked, the consequences can be serious. Have you ever woken up feeling lightheaded, blurry-eyed, or stiff around your neck and shoulders? If so, don't rush to blame your age. Sometimes it's the silent stiffness, the tightness that builds up in your neck and shoulders through the night, that slows down blood flow to the brain. And one of the most dangerous types of stroke, called brainstem ischemia, often begins with restricted blood flow right in the neck. I clearly remember one patient, Martha, age 72. She was active, loved gardening and knitting. One morning she stood up and felt dizzy. She brushed it off as poor sleep or low blood pressure. But after the third episode, when she nearly fell in the bathroom, she finally came to see me. Scans showed that the vertebral artery in her neck was being compressed by tight muscles, something that had built up slowly over time. And combined with her high blood pressure, it nearly triggered a mini stroke. I asked her, "Do you regularly stretch your neck or loosen up your shoulders in the morning?" She shook her head. I figured I was still pretty healthy. Never thought those little moves mattered. And that's exactly what I want to tell you today. Just a few simple movements every morning can make a big difference. You don't need yoga, you don't need a mat. All you need is this. After you sit up in bed, spend 2 to 3 minutes taking care of the bridge to your brain, your neck. I suggest this super simple stretching routine, something anyone can do. Gentle neck circles. Slowly rotate your head in a clockwise circle 3 times, then switch directions. Easy, no jerking. Look up, look down. Tilt your head back to look at the ceiling for 3 seconds, then gently lower your chin toward your chest for 3 seconds. Side-to-side stretch. Tilt your head toward your left shoulder, hold for 5 seconds, then right shoulder, 5 seconds. Shoulder shrugs. Lift both shoulders up to your ears, then drop them down. Repeat 5 times. Shoulder rolls. Let your arms hang loose and roll your shoulders back in big circles, as if you're shrugging off the weight of the world. I call this your body's way of saying, "Good morning." You don't need a trainer. You just need to listen. When your neck moves, blood seems to flow better. When your shoulders relax, your mind follows. A lot of people think, "I walk every morning. Isn't that enough?" But they forget the muscles in your neck and shoulders are like the busiest traffic intersection for blood headed to your brain. And the vessels here are small. Even a bit of tension can slow down circulation. I've seen patients feel more alert, less dizzy, fewer headaches, just weeks after adding simple neck stretches to their morning. It costs nothing, requires no equipment. All it takes is a few quiet minutes, like a gift you give yourself to start the day. We've spent our whole lives working, taking care of others. Now, let your body take care of you. Stretch, roll your neck. Not just to stay healthy, but to keep living with awareness and freedom. Your day will feel different if you start it with one gentle movement made just for yourself. Wonderful, Win. Now let's move on to morning habit number 7. Avoiding salty breakfasts. A small habit, but one that can make a huge difference in managing blood pressure and reducing stroke risk, especially after age 60. As always, we'll stay true to the tone. Inspirational, down-to-earth, softly philosophical, and always caring, just like the rest of the series you're creating for older adults in the US.
I used to think the most dangerous thing in the morning was skipping breakfast. But for older adults, the real danger might be what's quietly sitting on your plate. Salt. A slice of white toast with salty butter, a little cheese, a sausage link, even those low-sugar breakfast cereals that look healthy. They can all carry more sodium than a young adult's entire lunch. There was a man once, Thomas, 69, who had high blood pressure, but it was fairly well controlled. Then he started having unexplained blood pressure spikes every morning. I asked, "Are you eating anything salty for breakfast?" He said, "No, just some cheese toast with sausage, maybe a little soy sauce." I looked at him and smiled gently. Sometimes that little bit is all it takes to push your blood pressure up within 30 minutes. And that's the truth. Morning is when your blood vessels are the most sensitive. When you wake up, your blood pressure is already naturally a little higher. So if you add salty food right away, it's like throwing fuel on a fire. And the scary part is, salt doesn't always taste salty. A lot of processed foods are loaded with hidden sodium. White bread, cheese, canned goods, even some instant cereals that seem mild. If you're taking your blood pressure meds regularly but still feel tired, foggy, or weak every morning, take a closer look at your breakfast. You may not need more medication. You might just need less salt. Here are a few simple breakfast ideas that are both heart-friendly and delicious. Warm, soft oatmeal with walnuts or banana slices. Boiled eggs, no added salt, served with steamed veggies. A smoothie made with celery, banana, and apple. Whole grain toast with unsalted, unsweetened nut butter. Or just a warm glass of lemon water and a few slices of fresh fruit. You don't have to eat like a monk. You can still enjoy your food. Just eat with awareness, with kindness, and with gratitude for the body that carries you. I once asked an older woman, "Do you know what your heart loves most?" She smiled and said, "Probably my grandkids." And I said, "You're right, but it also loves quiet mornings, without the burden of extra salt." Because salt doesn't just raise your blood pressure, it causes water retention. It makes the heart work harder. It slows circulation and makes you feel sluggish all day. Try just 1 week of low-sodium breakfasts. That's it. You might be surprised. You'll feel clearer, lighter, more energized. Your blood pressure might even settle down. Turning 60 isn't the time for harsh diets. But it is the time to eat for your health, not just out of habit. And the first place to start is breakfast. Tomorrow morning, ask yourself, is what I'm eating a nourishing breakfast or a burden for my heart? You deserve a gentle start to the day, and so does your heart. I once asked a patient, "Have you ever forgotten to take your blood pressure meds?" He chuckled. "Sure, a few times, but it didn't seem like a big deal." And I looked at him for a long moment and said, "Sometimes, a few times is all it takes to trigger something none of us want to happen." You see, every morning your blood pressure naturally rises. Your body is rebooting after rest. Heart rate goes up, adrenaline kicks in, blood vessels tighten, the sympathetic nervous system activates. All of that happens within the first hour of waking up. And this is when most strokes tend to happen. If you've been prescribed blood pressure medication, not taking it on time, or even just a few hours late, is like walking into rush hour traffic without wearing a seatbelt or armor. I had a patient named Linda, 67 years old. Her blood pressure was well controlled for years. But after a vacation, she started missing doses. I forgot. I was busy. I hadn't eaten yet. Within just 1 week, her BP spiked, and she was rushed to the ER with signs of a mini stroke. Thankfully, she got there in time. I told her, and I want to tell you too, that tiny pill doesn't just help you live longer. It helps you live clearer, more present, and with better quality. You don't have to understand the science behind every pill. You just need to know. Take it at the same time every morning, before breakfast or coffee. Use a full glass of water for better absorption. If your doctor tells you to take it at night, honor that time like a daily ritual. I often share these simple tips to help older adults stay consistent. Keep the pill bottle next to your bed or water glass. Use a weekly pill organizer. Set a reminder alarm. Try a health app like Senior Health Tracker. It can remind you, record your BP, even track your mood.
There was a time when we could skip meals, stay up late, forget things, and still bounce back. But now, your body needs honesty and discipline. Stability is everything at this age. And nothing stays stable if you keep skipping that little pill. One pill, just 10 seconds, but it can add 10 years to your life. And more importantly, keep those years full of clarity, strength, and independence. Tomorrow morning, before the spoon hits the cereal bowl, before your hand touches the coffee mug, reach for your pill and say to yourself, I choose to be proactive. I choose to protect myself. One of the scariest things at this age isn't being sick. It's not knowing you're sick. And by the time you do, it might be too late. When we were young, a headache was no big deal. A bad night's sleep, a few junk meals, we bounced back. But after 60, every little symptom might be a signal. Not to scare you, but to remind you to listen to your body. And in this age of technology, we don't have to guess anymore. You have tools, a phone, a simple app, and 5 quiet minutes each morning to check in on the most important person in your life. You used to carefully keep track of your household bills, family records, budgets. So why let your health drift by without checking in? I often suggest my older patients try simple apps like Senior Health Tracker, totally free. It helps you log your blood pressure each morning, remind you to take your meds on time, track how much water you've had, count your daily steps, write down your mood, and sleep. All it takes is just a few taps each morning. You might say, I'm not good with technology. I get it. But the truth is, you don't need to be. These apps are made for people 60 and older. Big buttons, simple layout, easy to read. And if you've ever learned to use a phone or made a video call to your grandkids, you can absolutely use this app. I have a patient, Mr. Harvey, 73. Every morning he opens the app, logs his blood pressure, checks off his meds and writes a quick note. I feel okay today. Nice weather. Good mood. A year later, he had a full health journal. And from that he noticed a pattern. Days with high blood pressure often followed poor sleep or salty meals. Why does this matter? Because when you track, you notice patterns. And when you notice patterns, you can make changes early. You don't need the best doctor in America, you just need to become the best observer of your own body. Every morning, just 1 minute to write down a few numbers. That's not being sick. That's honoring your life. Now imagine this. One day, you go to see your doctor. Instead of guessing, you open your app and say, here's my blood pressure from the last 3 months. Here's when I took my meds. Here's when I felt dizzy. Here's my weight week by week. You know what? That's the best way to help your doctor help you. You've spent your life tracking everything for your family. Now, it's time to start tracking yourself. Because you deserve proactive care. Because there are still beautiful days ahead, and you want to be there, healthy and clear-headed. Tomorrow morning, before you head out for a walk or tend the garden, take 1 minute to check in. You might be surprised how much more in control you actually are. Every morning I write down 3 lines, nothing long, nothing fancy,
Just 3 things I feel grateful for. Some days it's a warm cup of tea. Other days, it's the sound of rain at night. And some days, it's simply the fact that I woke up, breathing, still alive. I know. To some people this might sound a bit too poetic, not very practical. But let me tell you something. Your emotions directly affect your blood pressure, your heart rate, and your circulation. A Harvard study showed that writing down a few things you're grateful for each morning can lower blood pressure, reduce stress, improve sleep, and even extend your life. Why? Because when you shift your focus from worry to appreciation, your brain starts releasing serotonin and oxytocin, the healing chemicals that relax your blood vessels, lower inflammation, and boost immunity. You can take your medication, you can eat healthy, go for walks, practice deep breathing. But if your mind is still full of regret, anxiety, and stress, your heart is still carrying a heavy load. I had a patient, Charles, 70 years old. He couldn't sleep well. His blood pressure kept swinging. He was often irritable. He didn't have a serious heart condition. He didn't eat too much salt. But every morning he woke up thinking, there's nothing left to look forward to anymore. I gently asked him, tomorrow morning, just try writing 3 things you're grateful for, even the tiniest ones. The first week, he wrote them half-heartedly. I'm still alive. My daughter called last night. The flowers outside are still blooming. By the second week, he started smiling as he wrote. And after 1 month, he said to me, I'm not just alive, I feel like I'm living again. You don't need a fancy journal or a special pen, just a scrap of paper, or even a quiet moment in your own head. But when you write it down, your brain connects deeper with the emotion. What are you grateful for this morning? Maybe it's the sunlight peeking through your window. Maybe it's your partner still sleeping peacefully beside you. Or maybe it's the simple fact that today there's no pain. You'll notice something. When you feel grateful, you slow down. When you slow down, your heart softens. And when your heart softens, life feels lighter. This habit won't cure every illness, but it will change how you see each new day. And sometimes, that matters even more than the medicine. You get to choose how to start your morning. You can choose chaos, or you can choose calm. You can choose stress, or you can choose gratitude. And I hope you choose gratitude as your very first dose of the day.